Hi, investors. It's Nick and
It's Martin. Hello from me.
And today we have lots of assessments to get through, so we're going to be extra chop with this so that hopefully it'll be 20 minutes or less. With that in mind, let's get straight into it. And we're going to do the condition stuff first. And there we go. All right. This is Carr Forge Close in Hackenthorpe, £150,000, and as you see, it's got solar panels on it, and that's significant. Could be an issue. Don't know yet. We'll see what the feedback is. But essentially, if the solar panels belong to the homeowner, great. If not, not great. That's roughly how that works. Nicely maintained. The compromise of this property is this issue with the front garden. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Good shed. These houses have had their roofs renewed, which is interesting, but this roof looks okay, and we'll have a look at some closer pictures later. Good kitchen, good condition. Modernized. So this has been extensively modernized, I would say, in the last 15 years or so.
I think it's like social house.
Yeah, it's definitely just by the layout of the area and so on. But this would be the good period of social housing, so local authority housing. So I assume it was built sometime in the 60s by the look of it. But it's been fully renovated, as you can see. My guess is, as I said, somewhere in the last 15 years, I'd say.
Yep.
So it's in very nice condition, certainly from the estate agency pictures. That looks good. All right. Have a look at that floor plan. Quite a nice floor plan as well. I quite like these rectangular floor plans, like widthwise rectangular. But anyway, the only thing is that the kitchen and the living room aren't really joined up together, and the kitchen needs to be big enough to have a table in and whatever, but you know,
yeah,
it's okay.
Large.
Yes, it is. And we've got 3 decent sized bedrooms and a nice landing. I would say the upstairs floor is better laid out than the downstairs one. Now, let's have a look at the videos and see what we see. So this chap here, as I said, he's...
I'm just worried about the electricity for this property.
I think it's okay. What's going on here?
Yeah, because it's really on the almost on the ground.
Yeah. Well, let's just open this up and go full view. All right. Here's the thing with this road, that you've got this grass verge, then you've got the properties. Not great, but it's a very quiet area.
Yep.
As we'll see from the demographics shortly. A bit tight on parking, actually.
Yeah, it's tight because it's like end road, cul-de-sac, so and all the cars parking here. But it's okay. It's not a big issue.
Yeah, it's had a major reconfiguring. You can see there they've reorganized the upstairs floor plan in its history. That roof looks okay. The roof looks okay. It looks very tidy. The good thing about clay tiles are when they go, you just replace the tile. They're not pinned in or anything. You just slot them in, which is good. You can see there's that window there has been replaced. You can see down here, this window has been readjusted, and that window. It's had a huge amount of work on it. And this is a classic where a property has been extensively renovated, but the money, there's the equation which is money in, money out, or money in, money back. And what we're always looking for are properties where there's been a lot of money in, but they don't necessarily get it back. In other words, you're not paying double dollar for it. And overall, this might be such a property. When was it last sold? Do you know?
Check. We'll let you know. 2017.
Mm.
For 100.
Do you have any Rightmove historic on this? See
check.
when the renovation occurred. Anyway, he's dwelling on the brickwork. It's fine. That's all in good condition. So that's a wire, by the way, running along the course of bricks. So that's all okay. The pointing is in very good condition. This is a classic case of a nice house in good condition that was built well from the get-go.
Previous is 2004. So.
Right. Okay. Was it modernized back then? Do you know?
I'm checking.
It's in good condition. This guy is helpful. He's zooming in, looking at the details. This is useful. So you can see the course of bricks. That would be the damp-proof layer. That's looking good. It's quite high up, this house. So, yeah.
This property is renovated after 2017. If the photos are from, basically everything should be new.
Really? That's interesting. Are you working off Google Street View for that?
I'm working from previously photos.
Okay.
On Rightmove, so.
Interesting.
The street view is from 2008.
Right, so there's no updated Street View then?
Yeah, and from 2008, and the windows was already replaced, so the changing layout was previously, I guess, in 2004, when there was previous. And the full renovated was, because I'm checking the previous photos, the bathroom look old, but the kitchen look modern. But so after that, they replaced the bathroom, they make it much better.
Okay. That house is nice, nicely done.
I will show it later. Yeah. The condition-wise, is everything's good.
Yeah, these kind of decking things. We had an issue with another house that we did a transaction on. It had a rear decking, and it wasn't done quite right. It was bowing slightly, but that looks okay. That's quite an important detail, but it looks new, so that's good. There's our fuse board, more fuse board. Electric cables, yeah. There's the solar panel unit, the gas meter, the boiler, which looks reasonably modern. It's a heating thing, and some details of condensation. So this is your classic where whoever lives here, what they're not doing is opening the windows, and therefore you get excessive condensation. That could, I don't know where this is, but there was a leak once.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. Now, what I want to do is just go through this video, which is the walkthrough.
And I want to add, they said that for the boiler that in the EPC that it's need to replacing, but the EPC is made in 2014, and I think in between time they changed the boiler. So basically the EPC need to be improving because the EPC is older. So basically the EPC is, it can be seen really easily. You just need to make a new EPC. Yeah, and also
EPC. Oh, I see, a new EPC. Yeah.
Yeah, a new EPC, and because they said the low lighting energy need to be improved, they said that the heating controller need to be improved and replace the new boiler, and you will be see. But basically, they replaced the boiler. The lighting looks okay, so I think it just need to be made a new EPC, and it will be seen.
Okay, so this house looks fine. There's a couple of minor decorative issues. The double glazing all looks good. Yeah. Even the carpets look quite tidy.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. That's the old 60s, 70s wood paneling that they obviously ripped out. And again, it reinforces a point about this house that this is the kind of property where if you adjust for inflation and all that kind of stuff, they put far more money into it than they will ever get out of it. So this is a homeowner that just wanted the house to be nice. Yeah, and didn't really care about the economics of it.
This is like 5 years old bathroom, which is nice.
Yeah.
And you can see the look.
It's very tidy, isn't it?
Yeah, and the windows looks okay. Yeah. A new modern radiator here, so yeah.
It's good. Now, we did say we'd rattle through this, but we should take our time with the condition stuff because that's important. That's why we pay the money to get the person in there to go and have a look. That looks like is that carpet or vinyl? I can't quite tell.
I think it's vinyl.
Mm.
I hate when it's carpet. I will always
Isn't that all? Yeah, it's awful, isn't it? That's a nice cabinet.
Maybe if you have a vinyl on the top to put some small carpet, it will be better than.
Okay, so it's got one of these power shower things. They're not great, but it's quite a good bath setup, though, with the glazed shower thing.
Looks good shower. Yeah, on the EPC said that they have 250 millimeters loft insulation, so great. You see the socket?
No, I didn't, but I know it's got a modern fuse board, or relatively modern.
Yeah, but it's so on the.
Is it on the
almost on the ground? Yes.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay because it's got the modern fuse circuit board thing, so it's the modern RCD, should I say? It's got that, therefore it should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's so bad for you to have a bedroom like this, and then you close the door. There's virtually no ventilation.
Here it is. You see?
Yeah, so it's got the modern boxes on it.
Yeah. So just they didn't rewire.
They might have you're right. If they rewired, they would have done it higher. But I think the wiring was good enough to hold out, so that's okay.
Yeah, because the walls, they look like they strip out the walls and they make a new walls. So I don't know why they didn't do properly the wiring.
I would say carpet cleaning throughout, maybe painting and decorating.
Yeah, I don't think so. Then the renovation will be more than 5,000 for this property. But I think 3,000 will finish.
Yeah, if you can avoid the changing carpets, that's the big thing. But what you do is get a proper wet carpet cleaning company to the proper deep carpet clean. Yeah, my point was with this. Yeah, parking tight.
I will speak about the parking later when we go to the location.
Okay, so that's all of that stuff. Now let's have a look at the right. I'm just going to quickly go here for a moment. Martin, you can dig into all the parking stuff, but just to say, this is roughly what's going on.
But you have precise parking.
Well, you don't. You see, this is the problem. You've got enough space for one side, and everyone's electing to park on one side, and then you got the other. It's a bit tight, but anyway, there's loads of parking elsewhere. It's just whether you think there's too much crime or whatever to warrant doing this. We had a property the other day which Martin and I absolutely loved, and it got shot down by a client because of the parking, which silly us, we should have.
But a lot of properties have private parkings, what you can see, so
yeah. All right, and let's just have a look at the story here with the growth and all of that good stuff. We're going to Doncaster, well, Sheffield. But the Doncaster side of Sheffield, so that's good. And all right. Okay, very little crime. It's very quiet and good demographics. Quite a.
How much social house does it have?
35% and 5% private rented. But this is a nice little patch, actually, quite close to that. Well, that's a quiet road. Yep. So altogether, all that stuff's fine. That's good. There is a bit more crime in other patches, but even then, overall, this is very quiet around here. in general. All right, let's have a look at this and view for trouble in the corner if you see. Okay, just on a capital growth front, it's solid and steady is the best way of putting this. It didn't crash much last time around. It's still quite far below, or probably it's kind of creeping up towards the 2007 high. It's shown so-so growth over time. Now, generally speaking, when an area like this is solid, nice, not too much going on, in the end of the cycle, the property cycle, I'm not going to go into it in any depth, but cycles, they happen, 1845 today, lots of cycles. Towards the end of the boom phase where we are now, so we're in like 2 years to go before the end of it, possibly, then what you often get is displacement. So in other words, areas like this start to go up a little bit more, relatively speaking. So I am fairly bullish on this, but this isn't really about the capital gain. It's more about the inflation and debt erosion with inflation and so on. So the real question with this area is not so much, is it going to grow? It should be solid. It'll be a good, solid, steady one. But it's more to do with rent growth and whether this area will sustain good rent growth even in a difficult economic climate. I don't know. I would say it's difficult to judge. So on rent turnover, I'm just looking around. Yeah, I mean, it's just a nice suburban area. There will be plenty of rental demand. Okay, over to you.
I will share my screen. So first, on the street view, we cannot see the exact situation of the parking because it's from 2008. But as you can see, this person
I think this will be more recent because it's the 3D imagery. So the street view, not recent, this more recent.
So basically you can see this person made a private parking. This person made a private parking. I think you can make two if you want to do the property, but you need to destroy the fence and so on. Or maybe you can create a more parking slot here with the neighborhoods. And I think what's the most reasonable thing to do. I don't think it's an issue, but you can see people still park. You can see this car was in movement. This person also create private parking here. So it will be a tight, but it will still have a parking.
Yeah, it's sort of fairly easy London parking. So if you're in West London or someplace like that, this is you're gonna have a couple of issues. But it's
these properties here have garage here, garages. Basically, what I check.
Oh, that's interesting. So they're part. So you get a garage with it, probably.
Yeah. Yes, but not this one property. What we have, you don't have garage, but some of the properties have garage here. So basically, it will not be tight because of that. So that's like my reason why we should get this property.
People will use those as storage areas.
Yeah, but doesn't matter. But basically, they have. So I'm not sure that it will be a difficult. As you can see, you can park 1, 2 car more, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, but even if you have an issue, there's that main road on the very right, and it's an issue, but it's not a huge issue. I don't see it as a major problem.
Yeah, correct. So it's tight, but maybe not 100% you will always have a parking, but 80-90% you will. So it's an issue, but not really. So that's what I see. So basically about the year of build is between 30 and 50, but I think it's newer. This is all because it's look newer house. For me, I think it's between 50 and 70s, 60.
Yeah, it might be late 40s. It might be. The original building might be late 40s. It would be the early local authority housing.
Yeah. And the EPC is D, but as I said, it's old. and it said that you need to replace the boiler and lighting, but the lighting looks nice and the boiler looks nice, and also the solar water heating, and you have solar water heating, so EPCC for 100% sure. You just need to make a new one. And the issues with the flooding, very low risk, so you don't need to be worried about anything. The coal mining issues, it's far away, so everything's safe. So like there is no risk. So let's talk about the location. One issue with the location is you don't have really close by supermarket, but you have a lot of local small markets here, which is great, really close. And the closest supermarket I think it's this one here. So it's far away, but
yeah, one big thing to say about this area, by the way, which we didn't talk about, was the geography. This is a pretty flat area. A lot of Sheffield is really hilly, and as a general rule, people don't like to live in hilly terrain. And it's not. It's flat. It's pretty much flat here, which is a good thing. Very good thing, actually.
Yeah, you have schools around, and you have a lot of green space around. So everything's safe in my point. This is a high voltage, I think, but it's enough far away, so you will not have an issue.
And it's super close to that nature reserve as well, which is really good.
Yeah, and I will just measure, so you will see it's almost 300, 270 meters. So it's not an issue. I don't see an issue with that. So if you want to go to central Sheffield, by car is 16 minutes, by transport is 39 minutes, which is okay, depends. So yeah, you have buses on the main road here, not really far away, which is great. So the transport is good. The only, like I said, the issue is little with the parking and the large supermarket, but that's not an issue. And about the comparables, the rent, you can see even they go up to 850, but I think that's too optimistic. I think 775, 750 will be the rent. So, and for comparables, this is the comparables. As you can see, that even some property are asking 200.
That's too much.
Yeah, this is 150, 165, 140, 150. I think 150 is correct asking price.
Yeah, and I think it probably factors in the lack of parking. So there's probably a premium if you got on property parking.
Yeah, and if you have parking, then it will be like 170 maybe, 165 as you can see. Yeah, this is the newest. So I think that.
But it's even, the thing with the parking on this road is that if you're, for example, coming back with a car full of shopping, it's a cul-de-sac, so there's no through traffic. You just park in the middle of the road, get your stuff out of the car, then park your car somewhere. So it's not really much of a deal. It's an inconvenience, but it's certainly
so that's why I said like the parking, the rent will be 750. I didn't go too much optimistic just because of the parking. So 750, it will be good. So let's do the calculation. And so because I think the asking price is good. I think 160 maybe we can buy the property, but let's see.
Who knows? It's all about getting in there and ducking and diving and doing all of our stuff. Okay, so let's just do the deal score, and here we go. And we're saying, let's say 155, just because it's a softer market than Manchester and stuff, but renovation, I think it's worth saying 6,000 just to be conservative. And what did you say for rent?
750. And just because of the parking, I don't want to give 850.
I think you will probably get another. I'd 15%. Say 15% more growth out of this area over the next couple of years, and probably, I don't think it's going to crash particularly hard. But the main point is, if you get in now, post crash, it's likely you'll be up financially, which is good. Now, the next question is see, just make sure that calculation's correct. Yeah, so it's okay. I'm not going to dwell upon that, but yeah, 100 and that's 25%. So okay, I hope that's correct. Anyway, I know the other calculation is correct. Let's do the scores and then we go from there. And condition, it's exceptional. I'd say it's a 4.2. Location?
4 is good, not the best.
Area?
4, yeah. But for this price range for 3-bedroom terrace, semi-detached house, is great.
Demographic, oddly, it's quite decent. I say
Yeah.
oddly, it's decent demographic.
Yeah,
so
it have like social houses, but still okay. So, yeah, and the yield is good. 4.
5.5, 5.6, that kind of. So 5.8 to 5.6. So that would be
4. It's good.
4.
Yeah, and can you just the location? I think we can give 3.8 just because of the parking little issues. I don't want to give 4. Sorry. It will not score the best, but yeah.
Yeah, it's solid.
But,
I think if
solid.
you want a safe property with no particular issues that will not need much work for a long time, this is a good property.
Yeah.
And it's got the solar heating, which oddly enough is quite a nice, it's quite a draw because people will be like, oh, cheap electricity. And that's a thing. So overall, yeah, it's a nice house. Compromised parking, very good condition. It's probably just needs a partial redecoration. I would say you'll spend less than £6,000 on it, but we say 6 just to be conservative. And there it is. So yeah, nice overall, gets a reasonable score. Good little property. Yep. The big hidden benefit of this property is that it's a softer market in Sheffield. So you have a much stronger chance of getting this property than you would, say, a nice property in Swinton or someplace, just because the competition over there is outrageous and you'd have to bid so high in order to own it that it would stop making the property viable. But overall, I think long-term Sheffield is going to be okay. It's certainly not. It's a reasonably sensible economy, and a reasonably strong economy. I don't think it's going to crash in a hurry. It's just one of those stable, nice enough towns. Any comments from you before we finish?
I like the property. It's really solid, and I think it will work nice. And right. There's no any risk with that aspect, little of the parking, but coal mining, flooding, condition, everything's great. So
oh yeah, we've got to do all of that. All right, great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.